Mason Tipton may be small in size, but hey, his play is very, very big. He had a great day today in practice. Number five, and also talk some Willie Gay, some Trevor Penning, some DA mixed in, plus the usual injuries and some roster movements. I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. Look, I don't know what um, Mason Tipton is going to be in the future with the Saints. Don't know if he's going to make the 53, the practice squad. Um, is an undrafted free agent, but kind of what he's been doing since camp open, really. Um, I think he deserves at least a day in the sun. So I'm like, I think he's kind of a big story right now, and let's talk about him because Da brought him up in the or he was brought up to Da in the press conference. Da had some things to say about him. He did a uh, Q&A with the press after that. It was pretty interesting stuff in there. But when Da was asked about him, Da was basically saying, "Look, he's a smaller player, but he's got a skill set. He's you know explosive speed downfield. He's already proven that he's very, very good with the deep ball. Just in the limited time that they've seen him since they signed him." Um, Da was saying, "Look, we need to see the underneath stuff, especially the quick passes. Want to see some yards after the catch. Those kind of things." Um, bring up his relative athletic score in his draft year. The only thing he gets dinged for is his size, which he's 5'9", 179 pounds. Not much on the bench press. Smaller guy, not strength. Red flagged him and all that is very poor. But when you're looking at his speed, I mean, 4.3340, that is fast. Yeah. So he's got a lead speed. His vertical and broad jump scores basically grade him out. His explosion is great. So he's fast and explosive, which means he's getting off the ball fast. And his agility is only good. I kind of say that in jest because yeah, I don't think anybody's really upset about those agility scores, especially when you consider the elite speed and the great explosion rate. So he's bringing a lot of tools to this, and he's utilizing them, and he's looking very good out there, and he's turning heads, and that's what Da's been saying all along since the very first rookie mini camp about these guys who are not you know the front or the top 11 on either side of the ball, the top 22 plus reserves, all those guys coming back plus the draft picks, and you, you you've got a lot of good players, but it doesn't mean these guys aren't good players, but they got to turn the heads, and it looks like he's consistently turning heads in practice. Um, when Mason Tipton got up there, it was a very good Q&A. Asked a lot of questions. They want to find out a lot about this young man because everybody likes an underdog, and right now he's a big underdog. But like I said, he an underdog or not, he's acting like the big dog. The alpha out there with his play, and he was talking. That he'd shown up with the mentality. Look, I just want to help this team any way I can. I want to earn the players' respect. I want to earn the coaches' trust. I want to earn their respect. Um, but he's admitting I came in with a chip on my shoulder because he was undrafted. Um, he was talking. They even asked him about his recruiting. I think he got about 15 offers, and I think he only took 2 recruiting visits. One was Kent State, close to where he lived or where he grew up, and then Yale. Got the invite to Yale. That's where he ended up going. So he's throwing up. I shouldn't say throwing up. He's posting very good scores, very good athletics, and I think he thought, somebody's going to take a chance on me just because of speed and explosion, what I can do. They didn't. So now he's out to prove a lot of people wrong, and he's out to prove himself, like he said to his teammates and his coaching staff. And then they kind of brought up DA's comments earlier about, hey, look, great downfield, explosive. He's got a very good skill set, but the underneath stuff, the quick passing, we need to see other stuff from him. And it's almost like, and not in a bad way, it wasn't contentious or anything, but you can kind of see he's a guy that little chip on his shoulder pops up when he was asked about it because he's kind of like, hey man, I can run the whole route tree. I was very good with the deep ball and kind of how it was used, but I said I can run the whole route tree, and and he acknowledged, look, I just got to show them. I've just got to come in here and do the stuff that shows them, hey, yeah, I can do all that. I'm fine. I'm good. Give me the chance, or let me earn the chance. Let me earn your respect. So I really like this guy, and not only the playmaking ability that he's starting to show or has been showing. I don't think he's starting to show it. It looks like it showed up with him on day one when he took his first snap. But you know, really want to see him get his shot, especially when he said they asked him, "Well, who are you the fastest receiver in the room?" And I think he kind of wanted to say, "Yeah, I am." And at 4.33, he's definitely making a case. But he goes, he kind of acknowledged, I don't know, man. Shaheed and Alavi, they are really fast too. So I think there's a really good spirit of competition in that room. A lot of playmaking ability and a lot of speed coming at people. Um, and let me do this a little bigger. But instead of my normal play or players of the day, just kind of combined it up because on this, because a couple of tweets that came out showing showing two of the plays that were talked about also, but I got the video on this. Um, Man, he great cut when they're talking about, hey, I can run the whole route tree. That was an awesome cut that he just kind of got Taylor out of position, and Hayner hit him with a great pass. And then on the long play right here, that's the deep bomb that people were talking about. Just caught one in stride, and I'm pretty sure it's Derek Carr that threw that, but I can't swear to it because I couldn't quite see the number. But it doesn't matter. Whoever it was money. He outran the defender, got down there, made the play. That's what he does. But the fact that he and Hayner um, showed that, I had to watch this one more time because I really think this is just a really good route, good throw, good everything. Taylor's coverage in bad, but it just slips a little bit because that was a really great cut for him to get out to the sideline. So I'm liking this guy. Like I said, I don't know ultimately what's going to happen with him, but so far he's turning heads. He's turned my head. There's some other video out there that you can go track down of watching him make plays from the previous days, but so far it's like, hmm, this guy might end up squeaking his way on the roster some kind of way. So we'll definitely want to wait and see how this turns out, and something we definitely want to keep our eye on for the rest of camp. So I really want to talk about kind of some players who came up in the DA portion after practice, and then they got in front of the mic and had to some answer some questions from the media themselves. Uh, Trevor Penning, and honestly, when he was up there, the very first part of it, I'm kind of going, there's no real, I don't want to say substance here, but it's kind of he was talking about, being more comfortable and gaining his confidence. And that's kind of the stuff that we've been talking about since OTAs onward here, especially we found out he was moving to right tackle. They asked him a little bit about the transition, and he kind of mentioned, I'm getting used to it. He's like, if they put me back on the left, that would probably feel weird at this point, but the right's okay. Um, and he even mentioned, I'm getting more comfortable even from a couple of years ago, my first 2 years till now. I feel more comfortable, and even more from OTAs. And the confidence, he kind of made the point like, look, I was worried about mistakes. I was afraid of making mistakes the first 2 years, something we've heard from other players. But kind of just trying to learn the process of, hey, mistakes happen. The best thing that you can do is learn from them. Once you learn from your mistake, you flush it, and then you keep moving forward and not let it uh, stay in the back of your head. Going, okay, I made the mistake. I know what to do now. I know how not to make that mistake again. Let's go forward and do our job. So that was all great stuff, but it's like, yeah, kind of been having this conversation about him for a while. And then towards the end, he talked about 2 things that I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty good stuff." It's kinda burying the lead. I wish you'd come out with this or somebody would have asked him. And this is the initial questions and some follow-ups, but it's really about 2 people he kind of mentored him a little bit in the offseason. The first one, he said after OTAs, he mentioned about working with Teron Armstead. And the media was like, "Wait, what? You were working?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think San Francisco." He said, we're in that area, and I was working with Teron, and um, worked on technique. So Teron was trying to help him, get his technique better." I'm going, "Well, that's good." And Teron's probably a pretty good guy to teach that to you. But then he said, you know, they pressed him a little bit on. Well, what do you mean he was your mentor? He was like, "Well, he helped me establish or work to establish a mental process." And the conversation went on, the questions came on a little more. And basically, what Teron Armstead was trying to help Trevor Penning do is develop that plan before you even walk up to the line of scrimmage of what you're going to do. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty good idea. But the big thing that he was just trying, or Penning was I was getting from him, and I'm trying to implement, is you have that plan, that mindset when you get up to the line of scrimmage, that it has to be all about, do not let the pass rusher dictate what you're going to do. It's like Teron was telling him, you set the tone. You get up there and dictate to the pass rusher what he's going to do. I kind of like that. I hope it works out, that Penning is able to take a mindset of a very good NFL tackle, and Lord knows he played some very good football here for us in New Orleans, and kind of converting those nuggets of information. Find your talent, learn from your mistakes, push forward, play fast, because they definitely want you to play fast in this offense, fast and athletic and aggressive, and have the mentality to the guy you're gonna be knocking heads with. No, 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 no. You're not gonna dictate to me what happens right here. I'm gonna dictate to you. I'm gonna make you worry about what Imma do, not the other way around. Hopefully that takes hold, and that would be the confidence building thing, I think, if you could walk up to his line of scrimmage like Teron Armstead used to do, and be that guy. If Penny can be that guy, things all of a sudden look a lot brighter across that offensive line. The other thing you mentioned was another mentor type. I do not know how many watching here is old enough to remember, or remember at all, actually, um, Bryce Pop, who attended college at Northern Iowa, the same school Trevor Penning went to back in the 80s, because he was a rookie in the NFL in 1990. And Penning met with him and was talking with him in the offseason. In fact, now I think Pop's one of the defensive line coach or linebacker coach or something like that for Northern Iowa. And he said, I had a lot of conversation with Bryce Pop, because the first 2 years of Bryce Pop's career, 90 and 91, kind of in the same boat as Trevor Penning. He wasn't a first round pick. He was drafted later, but after 2 years, I believe it was Green Bay who drafted him, was like, man, this guy, we got to move on from him. We got to get rid of him. And a lot of what Trevor Penning's hearing now. And they were trying to replace him. And Bryce Pop was, he's told Trevor Penning, he said, at that point, it's just like put your head down, block out the noise, and go play as hard as you can. Cause you're at the point now. Look, if they're already trying to replace you, if they're already trying to get rid of you, what do you have to lose? In a sense, that's what do you have to lose? What could you possibly do that's going to make that situation any work if they're ready to move on from you? You just got to go do it. And got to put your head down and go to work. I think that's exactly what he said Bryce Pop told him. And it seems like you would think you would know that on your own, but hey, whatever. Maybe you need to be reinforced by a guy like Bryce Pop, because if you don't know who he is or don't remember him, because it was 30 some years ago, um, he survived 92, his third year in the league, grabbed on to Green Bay, played all the way till 2000. I think he was 11 years in the league, and in 1995, he was the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he had a tremendous career after overcoming those first two. years of almost getting run out of Green Bay, and who knows what would have happened if they would have replaced him and cut him. I don't know if that's going to take hold of Penning, but hopefully having a conversation with somebody like that who was on the brink of disaster, like Penning is right now going into this training camp. Bryce Pop was there in July, August of 1992. Hey, bro, this is what you got to do. Here's the game plan. Here's the roadmap. Here's how you survive. Because you got it's literally he didn't use the words, but as I'm listening to him tell that story and talk about Bryce Pop, I mean the conversation they were having is how do I survive and keep my NFL career alive? So hopefully that also is motivation that can really pull Penning together. Because again, if we can get all that harnessed on that right side, have that right tackle spot taken care of, it is nothing but good things for this offense having that problem solved so we can work on the rest of the line. And then next thing I want to talk about, DA talked quite a bit about not only Willie Gay in the linebacker room, but Willie Gay also, in a weird sort of way, was talking about Willie Gay in the linebacker room. So I'm probably going to hodgepodge back and forth between the two Q and A's they were given with the media, but really they were asking Da about Willie Gay, and he's like, "Look, man, that's a big physical linebacker who keeps getting better, mostly because he's getting better with the playbook and he's really understanding what we need him to do in this defense." And that's kind of what Willie Gay let off with was like, look, I'm looking to increase my role. I want to be in the field. I want to play more. And the best way I can do that is by learning this playbook. So I can get on the field. And when I'm on the field, I'm not thinking I'm just all action out there. I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with that. After they talked about Willie Gay, they asked about Pete Warner. And he's like, look, man, Pete's having a good camp. Um, and what it's happening, as DA said, is he's having a good camp. Willie's being Willie and getting better every week. You got to Mario. He said it. It's like, look, we're not only talking about competition at 1, 2, 3, meaning those three, but this is going all the way through the linebacking room because that room has a lot of ability. And he said they just need to get it all together and show it on a consistent basis. He said, because we're going to have competition for numbers 4, 5, and 6, which I'm going, did he just say we're keeping 6 linebackers on the 53? So I guess that's the tentative idea right now in July. I'm going, man, we pretty sure who those top 5 are going to be, but there might be a 6th one floating around there that after Kaliki Hudson and Jalen Ford, who we kind of thinking of 4 and 5, there may be a 6th one that they really like that is going to make this one of the best rooms in the, if not first, second best room on the defense right now on paper. And what's really kind of funny about this is because they're talking about how great Warner's playing, and then Willie Gay, they're asking him, and he's like, "Oh man, Pete's out there just balling right now. He looks so good." And Willie Gay's like, "Look, we're similar. We can do a lot of the same things," he said, "but some things, one of us may be better than the other." But he said, "You can play both of us on the outside, and it wouldn't matter weak or strong. It doesn't matter with Demario in the middle. We're good." And he said the mentality of our linebacking core right now is, and we've talked about the lack of 3 down linebackers that are just going throughout the league. And he's like, our philosophy is we want to show, hey, we have a lot of 3 down linebackers right here where we can just roll out. And hey, he even mentioned where he said, where I was before, where they were pulling linebackers on and off the field regularly, and just kind of the middle linebacker was the only one that was going to be out there all the time. The rest of it was a constant shuffle. And I know that's one of the things he wanted to come to New Orleans to get out of that and try to be that 3 down linebacker. And he even made the point that one of the things that he loved about coming here is that he said New Orleans trusts their linebackers, meaning they'll leave us out on the field. And he even passed the comment because somebody asked him, well, could we see sets where all 3 of y'all are out on the field? And he said, yeah. If we can do what we need to do and show the coaching staff, hey, we can trust all three of those guys to roll out there and play three downs, depending on the scheme and everything that's going on. He said, look, they trust us. If we can show we can do it and make the plays, they're going to trust us with playing time. He didn't come right out and say that hey, because I want to be a full time starter, three down linebacker. But he's pretty much said as much ever since he showed up in his opening press conference. And I don't think DeMario and Pete Warner are interested in giving up any of their playing time. So I like I said, it was more about kind of just watching what was going on today. Felt like we had to talk about, have a conversation about Mason Tipton. And then Willie Gay and Trevor Penning being one a newcomer who we're counting on a lot to help on defense. And another one, a guy who's been here 2 years going, hey, you got to get the shite together, buddy. It's now or never. It's got to all come together. It's got to happen now. And maybe with some ex NFLers or current NFL and an ex NFL are kind of maybe getting him in the right direction in the mindset with the new coaching staff. Maybe we can finally tap into the potential that Trevor Penning, you know, we thought he had when we drafted him. Before we go, just have to talk about some roster moves that happened kind of over the last couple of days. I'm not sure the exact time when all this happened, but I know as of this morning, this was the sum total of it. Offensive lineman Justin Herron went to IR, and I'm pretty sure that season ending IR at this point in training camp. I don't think it's one of those where he's going to be available at some point during the season where he comes off. But I'm not 100% sure on that because the way the rules change, I don't even know anymore. But I'm sure sooner or later when this comes out, somebody's going to mention, yeah, it's season ending because I'm about 99% sure it is. Two offensive linemen will waive Mark Evans, and it turns out Nuili was indeed a cut, and that's why he was in Saturday's practice. In the meantime, they signed three offensive linemen. And in the comments from Saturday, Rex, got to give you a shout out. You kind of called and said, I'm thinking they're going to add two or three or more in the near future. Well, kind of three went away and three took their place. And Tremaine Ankrum Jr., I believe is the how you pronounce his name. Chandler Brewer, it's offensive lineman. Both of them played for the Rams. Brewer from 2019 to 2022. Ankrum from 2020 to 2023. And Brewer also had 2023 with the Jags. I'm not seeing where they had a lot of playing time on the field. I do, when I was trying to look them up, saw several references to them, kind of that whole being released, signed to the practice squad, kind of bouncing around. But I don't know if any of them ever showed up in an active 53 man, much less played. I couldn't see anything as of this morning when I got these names. The third one is Jesse Davis. He's interesting. Offensive tackle. He was an undrafted free agent by Seattle in 2015. He's basically played Seattle 2015, Jets 2016, Vikings 2022, Steelers 2022, and San Francisco last year in 2023. In all those stops, he appears to have been, again, kind of a practice squad guy. Some of those were designated signed as a futures contract, which a lot of the players we have on our roster right now. I really hate to use the phrase back end, but it's kind of what it is, the back end of the roster. That's kind of the guys they brought in, camp bodies. But every now and then, some of those guys do catch on in a 53, and a lot of them wind up on the practice squad. Seems like where he's been most of his career, except for the Dolphins, because you notice it was a large gap. 2016 to 2021, he was a lineman for the Dolphins, where he actually had some starts at left guard and right tackle over that point. So some NFL experience. Notice too, and a lot of those stops, San Francisco being the latest, all zone scheme stops. So I guess they're bringing in a veteran, kicking the tires on a guy with some actual NFL experience, but also starting experience because he's the only one of the three that I found that ever had that. So see how that turns out. But I think it boils down to we really, really want the 5 or top 5 guys or so that we've got planned out to take the jobs and not have to keep pulling people in free agency and hoping they work out. Uh, and along those lines, one of the guys, Nick Saldiveri, left practice early today with a calf problem. They didn't see Lattimore at practice. They did see Kendre Miller and Jawan Johnson both working on the side, which is good. So I'm got to be getting there, maybe closer to getting back. Also saw I had missed this Saturday, but after practice on Saturday, because there's been a lot of players lately getting work in after the official practice is over. Well, on Saturday, one of them was Jawan Johnson, who was catching passes. Um, I didn't see anywhere where he was running routes or working with the quarterbacks, but the simple fact that he was out there able to move and he's catching passes, and now he's working on the side today. Go, all right, maybe Jawan's close to coming back. Um, Shane Lemieux also returned today, and they just saw a limited return to practice. So I guess maybe just individual drills or a portion of it. Didn't really clarify on that one way or the other. And the good news on the it's rare you get to say this on the injury report. The good news is that Chase Young practiced in the team portions today, which means he's getting some live hitting at that point. And Da did say in the press conference that they're still slowly working him in. So I don't think he got a lot of snaps, but he did get some live contact in. And that's because he's ahead of schedule. They weren't thinking he was going to be ready to go cleared at the beginning of camp like he was and be progressing where he would be getting some contact. To almost sounds like, look, since he's ahead of schedule, we don't mind just easing him and making sure nothing happens where we have a setback because we do not want that. And I'm like, good thinking, guys. Yeah, make sure we've got him. It's good that he's able to get the work in, and by all accounts, he's been working hard because he wants to get the work in. He wants to be ready to go for week 1. So do Saints fans. So I'm hoping that all works out the right way for us. So if you think I should have asked this earlier, but if you think Mason Tipton is the guy he's gonna sneak that 53rd spot on the roster, or maybe even be higher up before that, go ahead and give me a thumbs up because I know it's a limited sample size and don't get all gaga just yet, but I'm going, man, that's just a lot of playmaking ability that A, you want on your team, and B, you don't want to try to sneak through waivers or something, throw in a practice squad and let somebody like, oh, I don't know, San Francisco or Miami go, hey, he's really fast. We like really fast guys and scoop them up. At least not just yet. Still got a lot of time to go. So we'll see how it all plays out. So if you're new here, first time, please hit the subscribe and notification. So when we come up and drop something and want to talk some Saints, you can be right there with us. Um, and as always in the comments, it's like Rex did the other day, man. He called it. More linemen are coming in. So you guys give some great stuff, some great knowledge, and I really enjoy going through and seeing what you guys got. So please keep doing so. And day 5, practice 5, in the books. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Till then, I'm Tim. Peace out. Who dat?